Downright Upright Show, the place to go to hear out loud and proud what Minnesotans are thinking. And I am your host, Philip Anthony. Thank you all for joining us today.
Woo-woo!
Yay! And I hope you're all doing fantabulous. Fantabulous is fantastic and fabulous put together twice as nice. OMG. Today's show is going to be the bomb. You guys are going to, the GOAT, as they say, right? Greatest of all time. My special guest today is Araya Sandis, and she is the director of programming and LGBTQ outreach at Free2Luv. That's Free, the number 2, LUV, which is a nonprofit organization that empowers youth to be their authentic selves.
Mm-hmm.
OMG. The perfect guest for my show. So hello, Araya, and welcome to the
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to spend time with you and your listeners.
Oh, well, thank you. And I know you're having problems with weather in Seattle.
A little bit. We've got some rain. Can't complain though. We know where we're at.
This morning it was thunder and lightning here in the cities as well. So
nice.
I guess it's the electricity between the two of us.
It is. It's the chemistry. We're affecting the skies. We just can't help it, you know?
So before we begin, I want you to know that the show is a safe space for members of the LGBTQ community to speak their truth. So I want you to thank you for telling me your pronouns as well. And mine are he, him. And usually the first question I ask is about backgrounds. It's a background question. So I'd like to ask you where you were born, raised, educated, and anything else you want to throw in there about yourself.
Beautiful. My name's Araya. I use she, her pronouns. I was born in LA for the first 11, 12 years of my life. And then I've lived in Seattle ever since. And I'm 25 now. This is very much home. I love the people and the culture and even the rain because it equals beautiful nature. I was raised by 2 moms who deeply encouraged activism and social awareness and deep love for the world. And so that's very much been my life that I've continued to follow, which is a beautiful gift. If you were to ask my family who I was when I was little, outspoken would probably be one of the words that they would choose to use. And that definitely hasn't changed much. I think my current focus, inspired from my youth, is very much community care and making a difference. So that's who I would say I am now.
Yeah, and I did my legwork about your organization.
Thank you.
And I read it and the mission statement, everything. So the mission statement is: we're on a mission to ignite change, to stand up to bullying, to inspire the bravery it takes to speak up, to celebrate individuality, to support mental health, to save lives through the arts, and to unite in love.
Yeah, just small things, little easy. No biggie.
Yeah, it's kind of, and loving yourself is so important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I think that's one of the primary lessons we all have to learn as we grow. I think we're born knowing it, but unfortunately, often due to societal noise, we can forget how important we are and how special we are as people. And so I think it becomes a bit of a life lesson. We all learn how to re-love ourselves and know that we're important.
Yeah, because I watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and he always says, "Love yourself, because how the hell are you going to love anybody else?"
That's right. That's very much true.
Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes it does help. I think one of Free2Love's missions is also sometimes you need external love to remember how to do that. Sometimes you do need someone to see you and care about you to help you grow that muscle within yourself. So I think hopefully, and I've seen that we offer community spaces that really help you remember how to do that because other people are there loving you as well.
Exactly. So how did you land the role of Director of Programming and LGBTQ Outreach for Free2Luv? And what have been some of the obstacles you faced? And as a follow-up, what are some of the challenges that you see in the future?
That's a great question. Well, to start, how I got involved, I have two moms, beautiful moms, Tanya and Kim, who started this. I want to say I feel like we're about 12, 13 years old now. And they started and founded Free2Luv. So they saw an epidemic of bullying and suicidal
Oh,
ideation in our
really?
youth. Yes. And they were really
Incredible.
inspired is the wrong word, but motivated to make a difference. As I mentioned earlier, they very much care about community and using their voices. And so they founded this organization. They are based in the music and arts industries, the entertainment industry. So they knew the power of the arts and music to inspire people, specifically the youth. And so they wanted to found a youth empowerment nonprofit that used the arts to make a difference. So since I was about 12, I've been watching them do this work and create programming and really learn the ins and outs of nonprofit spaces. And so I've been involved listening and learning since I was really young. And then about 5 years ago, I really wanted to start taking on some of the work and become a bigger part of it. And so I started being a part of the programming, specifically our Express It program, leading it and co-leading it with people and sharing my ideas with my parents. And so it just sort of grew from there. Um, and obviously, they've watched me my whole life want to use my voice to make a difference. And so, really wanted to thankfully give me a position of power where I could follow my passion, which is LGBTQ plus outreach and community building, and combine
Wow.
that with the work that I'd been watching for years at that point.
Incredible. And,
Yeah.
and as far as the future in your position, do you see challenges? And if so, what are they?
Yes, I think the challenge that a lot of nonprofit and activism work faces is to figure out how to be preventative, not a band-aid. I think we need structural changes in the world to care for mental health. Let's talk about that specifically, or even LGBTQ plus support. I think when you have a society that's not accepting or feels scary, your mental health will, of course, be affected by that. And so I think we want to be a structural and societal change, not just a band aid to a problem, but like a deep seated solution and preventative measure. So I don't necessarily know if that's exclusively a future challenge. I think that's potentially like a past and present problem. And I just see sort of more of that in the future of really wanting to make sure that we're creating long lasting partnerships with communities where they know we're preventative and we're support when you're going through it. And we're also not just going to leave you when you're done partnering with us, that you have our lifelong support in your healing and in your joy just as much.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Oh,
Oh my
thank
God.
you.
You have such a bright light. You really do.
I'm
Um,
just it's a mirror situation, I'm mirroring you is what's going on.
well, thanks, Rhea.
Yeah.
Would you give us
Mhm.
some of the ways that you conduct outreach for youth, LGBTQ youth?
Yes, I would love to share about our Express It program. Our Express It program was created at the beginning of the pandemic to create a physical tool that youth could use wherever they were, and we could continue to offer them support and a community space to connect with each other and have access to creativity. So, Express It is a multi week program where community leaders lead participants through this 72-page creative expression journal. It was created by child psychologists and artists and youth who had been a part of our programming in the past so that we could make sure that the questions and creativity really connected with the youth and their needs. Um, it really is a beautiful thing to be able to offer youth a space where they can be themselves and build up their self esteem and practice self expression, while also having access to the arts. It's a space where you can like really be yourself to the fullest and know that you're welcomed and seen and supported. And we had no idea when we created this program the impact it would have, as I'm sure many people say. But we've now partnered with about 275 partner organizations, many who serve BIPOC and LGBTQ plus youth. That's one of our big focuses, and it's nationwide. One of the things we're very proud of is how accessible we've made it. We offer this entire program free of charge to every community, and I think it's such a gift, as I'm sure you felt, even with this radio show and how you use your voice, to be able to watch youth and people build community with each other through sharing their stories and sharing their innermost thoughts through conversation and art, and create tools and community that they'll use for the rest of their lives. So I do want to offer to anyone listening, if they know an organization that would benefit from Express It, or if they need support, if they want an expression journal, we have a Get Support page on our website. And if they complete the Express It form, we'll make sure to reach out to them and make sure that they get all the support they need from us. So that's our primary form of programming that we really are proud of and adore.
What is the website now?
Free2Luv. So it's FREE, the number 2, LUV.org. And if you go to our Get Support page, it will have a space where you can request Express It and continued support. I really am so proud of it. We really have made all the characters in it gender neutral and have LGBTQ plus specific pages. We're actually working on an LGBTQ plus specific one for our community to be able to share and feel safe and create a beautiful creative community space for all of us.
That's wonderful. Does your organization have tentacles? Like, does it? I call it tentacles. In other words, like, do you reach out to different parts of the country? Because you're a Seattle-based organization.
Yeah, but we're nationwide. We've worked with.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, okay. We've worked with almost every state. I can't think of one off the top of my head that we haven't yet. I'm sure they exist. But our pride is that we are able to make it as accessible, not only financially, but physically as possible. So we ship them out. Again, the 275 partners range from anything to like big brothers, big sisters, to smaller like GSAs in schools. Like we had a teenager reach out to us saying that their school really needed a space to have conversations around LGBTQ plus identity. And so we supported this individual student, bringing it into their classrooms to share. And so, yeah, we work all over the states, and we're very proud of that.
Yeah. So if anyone listening now is experiencing bullying or they would just go on the website and go to get support, and then will they get a live person speaking to them, or how does it work?
Not there. They'll have a form that they can complete, sharing like why they want to Express It, and then where we can send it. All the information stays private. It will not be shared anywhere. And then we are able to email you and send you an Express It program. And if you're interested in programming, I often lead virtual programming. You also can let us know, and then we can invite you when one comes up to join that space where we can all be together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I adore it. It's definitely a passion, and we call it heart work.
But the audience knows if they're watching this show, because it's a radio show and it's also a podcast, so you can do both. It's
Come see our beautiful faces when you're done listening. Please.
Tell me though, Araya, that I have a face for radio, so that's why I do radio.
They were just jealous, Philip. You know this.
Oh, you're gonna make me laugh. I can't continue the show here. So it was brought to my attention that you moderated an LGBTQ roundtable featuring queer representation in film.
I did.
In collaboration with Outfest. So can you talk about that experience for us?
Yes, this was in 2018. And I've moderated panels since, but this was one of the first ones where I was really brave and didn't just write the questions, but I asked them myself, as I'm sure you know, or maybe you're used to it by now. When you're first starting, it can be very nerve-wracking to use your voice.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. If you listen to my earlier shows,
I love that. Oh, well, that's our journey of learning how to use our voice, right? Like, I think we're talking from a place of understanding the nerves that can cause.
Oh, yeah.
It was such a beautiful experience. One of my earliest memories being a young queer person was really valuing representation. So being a queer person in fandom spaces and building community that way. And so I really wanted to moderate a panel and invite diverse voices to share their perspective on what queer and LGBTQ plus representation meant to them. And so we invited about 5 participants, and we partnered with Outfest, which is a big LGBTQ plus film festival. And Free2Luv was the host of this roundtable. And we talked about how queer representation can help youth feel seen and know what's possible for them, how we share our voices in fandom spaces and what that looks like, how we keep ourselves safe, how we build healthy community. We talked about films that had and TV shows that had come out that were really important to us and had sort of shaped how we saw ourselves. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the arts is that it can be harmful when we see stereotypical representation. It can feel like not much is possible for us, or we have to create and dream up our own futures. But in that same, like on the flip side of that same coin, it can be really empowering when you see yourself represented. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a really beautiful experience.
And when I was doing, again, this investigatory work,
Mm-hmm.
my vocabulary, I saw a video with Mayim Bialik.
Yes.
She's an actress. She used to be a moderator for Jeopardy, and then she was on many shows. She was on Blossom, I think, right? Million shows. And she's a spokesperson for your organization, isn't she?
She is. I think that's one of the powerful things that Free2Luv has been able to do is utilize people's platforms and passions to spread our message. I think one of the beautiful things is from actors like Miss Mayim to youth who have their own passions. We've worked with a young woman who raced cars, and she put the Free2Luv message on her race car, which was super special. It was super cool. To singers and yeah, I know it was such a cool experience to be able to see that. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah,
that really is beautiful.
It is beautiful, and to be able to access a community that we didn't have necessarily tentacles in, as you put it, but that this youth is really
I couldn't think of a better word.
I love it. Honestly, you can picture it, so it works.
You can spread out. It's like tentacles.
I guess I need roots.
Roots only go down, right? Whereas I want everything all over.
Okay, I see. That's true. That's true.
Sense?
That's true. I love that. But yeah, I think that's one of the powers, right? Everyone has an art passion or a life passion that they're able to harness to spread messages that are important to them.
Absolutely. Well, I want to fit in this question in 2 minutes before we take the first break.
Okay.
Free2Luv has a campaign called Queer Joy Amplified, which celebrates gay, queer, and trans joy.
Yes.
So can you elaborate on that?
I can. You're only giving me 2 minutes. Listen.
Well, you know what? When we come back from the break, you can continue with
Okay. I appreciate it because this is my current life passion. One of Free2Luv's primary focuses, same as your show, is really uplifting LGBTQ plus voices and celebrating our community. And with queer and specifically trans rights under such an alarming attack, especially this last year, we really wanted to honor and uplift queer and trans voices. So oftentimes our stories are told in the context of pain or coming out, and those are valuable stories that need to be told. But we really wanted to value and uplift stories of joy and celebration and our right to thrive. So we launched the Queer Joy Amplified campaign.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you because you're getting really great. It's
you feel the flow.
I'm feeling it. So I want to get more time in the second segment for this.
I appreciate it.
So my name is Philip Anthony, and this is the Downright Upright show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Woo!
Sing along if you know it. I am what I am.
Woo!
What I am. I'll be. I am.
You need karaoke lyrics.
On the right. I see.
Woo! Woo!
To be just who they are. Yeah, that's right. Sing it.
To share all of the love. People have the right
yes.
to share just what they feel. The right to their free will.
I did not choose the way I am. Welcome back to the Downright Upright Show. Happy Pride. It's Pride Month, and we're playing the Village People.
Woo woo!
Are singing about I am what I am, and I did not choose the way I am. Amazing song. I would encourage all of you out there, especially youngins, us old gay boys here. We know that one like the back of our hands. So I would encourage the younger people out there listening to pick up that album or download it on your Apple. What's Apple Music? Yeah.
I love it.
Anyway, did you like the song?
I did, and I'll
Feel
train
it?
you encouraging queer elders to pick up Chapel Roan. We could trade music.
Oh God, next time you come on, because I'm gonna have you on again. I
love it.
It's magic here. And I want you to pick the song next time.
Okay, no pressure from me.
We're gonna do some young music now, because it can't be always old fart music like me.
Please, Village People are classic. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, the Village People were amazing. I mean, they talked about our community and embraced us. So that's why I love them. Anyway, so we're going to talk more about Queer Joy Amplified.
Yes.
And Araya was cut off by this rude host. No, just kidding.
This very kind and helpful host.
Well, thank you. And I wanted to give you more time. So now you have 19 minutes to do this.
I will fill it. Be careful, Philip. I appreciate it.
But I'm sure you want to talk about this beautiful.
I do. I love this campaign. I'm very proud of it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. The Queer Joy Amplified campaign, for those who are just jumping in, really uplifting queer joy and our right to thrive. I would love to share the purpose of the campaign, and it's really to share and remind LGBTQ plus youth and young adults that joy is their right, and that a life where they thrive and are seen is what they deserve, not just to survive. There's that quote that I saw recently that said something like, queer youth deserve to become queer elders. And I think that that's really accurate. We deserve to become fully formed young people and adults, and then elders that have been fully enthralled in our joyful experience of being ourselves. And so we really want this campaign to highlight the joyful experience of queerness and transness and allow all of us to create a space together where we can celebrate the beautiful experience of being us. So to start the campaign, we invited beautiful humans to share their voices and experiences and perspectives on what queer and trans joy meant to them. So we had Bowie Starr, who's been a part of our organization since 2018, Maze Felix, Adriel Bernal, Rose Montoya, Camila Camilleon, Christina Lahuna, Ryder Dunnigan, Sox Whitmore, and Marquise Pereira, who all have diverse identities and life experiences and are really, really beautiful humans. I totally recommend y'all check them out on Instagram. Their voices are extraordinary and kind and powerful. And one of the things we're also super proud of is we had a full LGBTQ plus cast and crew, which was super special to us. As I'm sure we all know, there's not only power in seeing ourselves in front of the campaigns and cameras, but there is a ton of power in telling our own stories and being the creative power behind them. I think you do that so beautifully with your show. Like, you are the force and your team behind it. And then you can invite people in front of it that also share experiences and have experiences that differ from your own, where we all can celebrate each other. And so we're super proud of empowering LGBTQ plus people in all aspects of our programming. So we've done a few things with this campaign. One is we have a video component where we had them answer 3 questions. How would you describe queer and trans joy in one word? What do you hope for the future when it comes to queer joy? And what would you say to LGBTQ plus people who are struggling to find and feel joy? And we invite the public to submit videos as well, answering one or all of those questions. And we're hoping to make a community compilation video that then we share with LGBTQ plus organizations and youth to really see that the community is rallied behind them and really supports them. And we're very proud of that. And then we have an art contest going on for the entirety of Pride Month, so till June 30th, where it's national. Anyone's welcome to join, welcoming queer and trans creative voices of all ages to share their creative response to the prompt, what does queer and trans joy mean to you? We have really cool merch that you can win, cash prizes, and then your art, if you win, will be displayed on a national billboard campaign, which we are very proud of and excited to be able to offer. And so I would love to share a little bit more about that contest if you feel up for it.
Yeah, sure. Before you do that though,
Mhm.
I'm scared though for people that live in states where if you drew something like your two
Mhm.
daddies or your two moms or something LGBTQ,
Mhm.
it would be illegal,
Mhm.
right? Are you getting
Or
any?
dangerous. I think the big thing for us is we can keep it anonymous. So if you share your art with us, we don't have to attach names or locations to
Perfect.
it.
Thank you.
So
That's wonderful.
of course,
Yeah, yeah,
safety is our number one. We want to keep everyone that's
absolutely.
part of
We
us
want everyone to be safe.
a
Absolutely.
million percent. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's a big thing for us is that however you need to be supported in sharing your art, we will do that for you 100% of the time. So
Awesome.
of course, and we want voices that normally can't be heard to be able to use us as that conduit and healing tool of like maybe in your community you're not safe to be yourself yet. Hopefully that changes. But with us, you always will be. So I think that's one of the beautiful tools that we're hoping to do even with this art contest is allow people to share things that maybe they normally couldn't. Um, just make sure that you either hide it really well or burn it when you're done. And we will have the archive of your talent.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate it. And I think that's one of the beautiful powers of social media is that we can build community with people who aren't in close proximity with each other. Um,
That's why you're here.
yeah, exactly. I appreciate that. That's very much one of my life missions, and same with you. I think as much as your
Absolutely.
Minnesotan voice, anyone can listen to you and
I
feel
just want
seen.
the people in the Twin Cities
Mm-hmm.
and greater Minnesota that listen to the show to meet you and
Oh,
learn your mission and learn your bright light, discover your bright light and your organization's bright light because we are, I guess, a safe space, Minnesota.
mm-hmm.
We are just doing it, man. We have conversion therapy bans in this state. We have
Beautiful.
a lot of pro LGBT legislation that has passed.
Mm-hmm.
I can go on and on with it, but we don't have the
I
time.
love that.
Yes. So you being able to tell us what you're doing uh, brings gives self-esteem to a lot of people as well,
Yeah.
because people that are like apprehensive about coming out or apprehensive about talking about their authenticity. I think
Mm-hmm.
people like you are just a gem, and thank you again for doing this. This is
Thank
great
you so
stuff.
much. I appreciate it. I think one of the powers even that the Twin Cities and Minnesota can have is if you're on the flip side, someone who is so comfortable and has that safe space, you can share what that feels like. You can
Yeah.
really use that as your superpower of like, I've been there, I'm now here thriving. Here's what that can look like for you. Because it's really hard to believe it unless you see it. I
Mhm.
think for humans to be able to see you thriving and using your voice in a public platform and a whole physical place that has decided to be a safe space really is like, oh, that's possible. We all can have some version of that. I think
So
is
did I
beautiful.
cut you off about more about Queer Joy
You
Amplified?
know, it's conversation. We're chit chatting, so I can jump right back into it. You know me already.
Well, I want you to be able to get it all out
I
because I
appreciate
have
it.
a habit I'm very, very inquisitive. So
I love
sometimes
that. That's why you're great at your job. I'm the same. I'll be asking you questions in 3 minutes. Just give me a second. But I can share where they can submit their art
yes,
and
please.
where the contest is, where they can find more information. So that's again
Absolutely.
Free2Luv's website. That's FREE, the number two, LUV.org. And then if you go to the top right of that website, there will be a tab called Queer Joy Amplified. And you'll be able to submit your art there and again have a chance to win cool merch and like $500 cash and really have a chance to again have your art featured on a national outdoor billboard campaign. So we
Oh my
really 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 want to see what queer and trans joy means to you and your community. So even if you think you're not an artist, I know that everyone is creative, so we would really love to see your creative expression.
wow. You guys are just doing it, man.
I appreciate it. We're out here and we're a little team too, but I think it's like I really appreciate the compliment when you say like a light because I think that's one of the things that and why I've loved working with Free2Luv is that you can have that light, but if you're in a structure or a system that doesn't encourage that, it's really hard to feed
Yes.
that flame, for lack of a better term.
Yes, because I use that word light, bright light, because a lot of LGBTQ people are they feel like they're in a dark space.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone shines a bright light, it gets them their attention and gets them to, hey, you know what? I need to do XYZ to make my life better. I can't just keep wallowing in this because coming out is hard for a lot of people, especially youth. You trust me, I know. I don't want to. I always talk about it on my show about my coming out, and I'm not going to do it again because it's a downer. But this show is an upper because or uplifting. I want to say. So I'm not an upper. It's like a drug. But
it will feel like that. It will make you feel inspired and energized.
Exactly. So I have another question though.
Yes.
Through my legwork, I've discovered that you are a program facilitator and trainer.
Doesn't that sound fancy?
Yes, and you've developed mental wellness programming for LGBTQ teens and young adults.
Yes.
Can you tell us how you assist our youth with this
of course. One is that I am the primary leader for the Express It program that we talked about a little bit earlier in the show. So
that's part of Express It. Then.
Part of it, but there's another element of it. So aside from leading Express It programming, really wanting to be a community member that's guiding those, we also have a space at ECCC or Emerald City Comic Con here in Washington, where we are the primary and exclusive LGBTQ plus safe space within their convention. And we have arts empowerment programming, and it's a space where LGBTQ plus people in fandom can find each other and connect and feel safe. And it's a physical space that we all can really share together and enjoy. I know, especially after the initial panic of COVID, I don't necessarily consider COVID over. So we keep that space as physically safe as possible, but it's a beautiful moment and time to be able to create and co-lead a space where we can find each other and we can be physically together again and talk about what it's like to be queer or be a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and specifically with that, what it means to, again, talk about representation, talk about creativity and the arts. I led a panel there this last year talking about LGBTQ plus representation in fantasy, which was really special and exciting. So I co-lead with the Free2Luv team a physical program there with Emerald City Comic Con, and then lead Express It as well. And I think the primary thing is that if something comes up in the LGBTQ plus community, or if a mental health conversation sparks, I love to be able to take what I know and shift the programming and customize it to communal needs. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about us is that, and about Free2Luv, is that it's empowered me to see something going on and then take action and
take
create
action.
programming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Year of action for sure.
Wow. That's why I sought you out. I was like, when I do my homework for this show, I want people that inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
And your organization inspired me to get some representative from your organization.
So much.
And it's just an honor, really.
That's very kind. We appreciate
No,
it.
it's not about being kind. It's about I'm just doing my job, man. I'm just trying to get my people out there to see that there are organizations out there who have our back, man.
Mm-hmm.
That are not, some of them are just like, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying?
I do.
And you guys are doing the job. So I want to thank you again. So I have another question here.
Go for it.
Now, part of my show, sometimes I try to talk about politics.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's important that especially for our community, whoever's out to help our community, I'm there. So do you do any outreach to politicians who have the power to enact laws to protect the LGBTQ community?
For sure. We are not super involved in policy making. as of right now. That's not one
But
of our
do you reach
primary
out
focuses.
but do you reach
But
out to
yeah, so we recently pitched to District 34 here in Washington, to the Democratic Party, and they are representatives of, again, progressive interests, progressive perspectives, really making a difference. And they invited us into their space to share more about Free2Luv and express it, and how that can be involved in schools with a broader outreach, what it looks like to talk about youth mental wellness and mental health, and how to support the LGBTQ plus identity. So that's the most recent thing that we've done. I definitely think politics, and again, like talking about systemic care, I find community and community building and community action to be really radical and important. And so when we talk about like systems and community, that obviously to me deeply includes policies. And so if Free2Luv itself isn't focusing on that all of the time, as a program leader, and I definitely know the rest of the Free2Luv team are, that's very much our personal perspectives, and really wanting to understand also that mental health is national, that it's global, that we are all connected. And I know maybe that sounds like a little like, I don't know, soft's the wrong word, but like I get that people can roll their eyes when you say like, we're all connected, but we genuinely, I truly believe all are. What we do in the US affects the entire globe. How we take care of our mental health can influence people everywhere to do the same or find a version that works for them. So I definitely think, as far as even just a personal perspective, we are really wanting to bring progressive change and support to everyone that's a part of our movement.
Yeah, because whatever side of the aisle you're on, if you're supporting our community, we're supporting you. It's not about red and blue. It's about who's going to do the do. You know what I'm saying?
Get that on a hat.
Yeah, do the do is So I have another thing here that I saw on your website. It's called I think it's a motto, or you tell me. It says, "We transform pain to power." What does that mean? Can you explain that?
Yes. So what it means to me personally is that we all have an individual life experience, and that very rarely is devoid of any struggle or pain. And I think there's often two things that you can do with pain. It can entrap you, it can make you feel stuck and overwhelmed, or you can harness that pain into a power that you have. I'm not necessarily one that believes that we need pain to be good artists, or that we all deserve to struggle, therefore we're fully human. That's not where I'm coming from. But I do think when you have a specific struggle or pain or life experience, you can use that to improve the world around you. You can turn that into creativity. You can create a nonprofit, so to speak, if you're feeling inspired, or join an organization that speaks to you and potentially your life experience. I think that's the thing, even with Free2Luv, is like, let's say someone listening to you has had a difficult time coming out or feeling seen or building their self-esteem. They can find a space within us to use that pain and turn it into empowerment, into power, to talk to youth who are currently going through what they went through in the past, and inspire them and uplift them and make them feel seen. So to me, turning pain into power means taking the pain you've experienced and using it as a tool to make your life and then the world a better place.
Mm-hmm. I can't, it hurts me to even hear that somebody's experiencing pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Totally.
it's just, it hurts my heart. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I have different numbers here. I don't know if we're supposed to take a break now, but I'm going to take it anyway, and we'll find out. So,
More good music for us. And then I have a question for you, so you let me know.
So this is my name's Philip Anthony, and this is the Down Upright Show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota and Washington State.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Yeah, try to love one another right now. That's the message, really.
Love it.
My name is Philip Anthony. This is the Downright Upright Show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm here with Araya, and she's with Free2Luv. I don't want to say
Woohoo!
Free2Love because it sounds like a person's name. Free2Love.
I love that. That's how Siri corrects it.
Yeah, because my husband even says, Philip, make sure you say Free2Love because
How
you're saying Free to
cute.
Love.
Thank
Yeah.
you, husband. I don't know if you
Anyway,
say his name on here, so I'll leave it
oh,
alone.
Bjorn. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful,
everybody
beautiful.
knows my husband. Today's my anniversary, by the way.
That's right. Happy anniversary.
Yes, 16 years of bliss. I love him to death.
Woo!
And I love him more today than I did when I met him. So it's just growing. It's like a seed. Yeah,
I
it's
love that.
amazing. Yeah. So you had a question for me, I heard.
I did. I actually have 2 questions for you, so be ready. One
Ah,
is we've been talking about using our voice and queer joy, so I would love to know what queer and trans joy means to you. And I also would love to know if you have a memory being a queer youth where you felt seen or where it inspired like queer joy, but maybe you didn't quite know it yet at the time.
yes. Well, I can answer the second part first because
Okay.
that one's embedded in the brain. I had a very bad childhood and I was abused and all that stuff. So
Sorry to hear that.
yes, thank you. And kids were not nice to me because I was very gay. I mean,
Mm.
if you can picture, I liked girls, hanging out with girls and playing with
Oh.
Barbie dolls and all that fun stuff. So I wasn't a popular kid.
Mm.
And then I went to college and I met people.
I love
And it
that.
was a very progressive college. Thank God, because I was going to religious schools my whole life.
Mm.
And this is the first time I didn't. And they took me out to a gay bar for the first time, these people. And guys were coming up to me and
Woo!
saying, "You're so cute and you're so this." And my self-esteem just shot
I
into
love that.
the stratosphere
How
because
old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
20?
Cute. Love that.
Yeah. So to me, queer joy is feeling comfortable in your skin.
Totally.
Being yourself and not worrying and not saying, "Oh, I have a girlfriend," or for lesbians, having a guy on their arm, I mean,
Totally.
it's just being comfortable with yourself and being true to yourself.
I
So
love that.
I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. What does queer joy mean to you now?
Now that I have my own queer joy for me now means that everyone in the community is able to walk freely in
Ugh,
their own skin.
I
That's
love that.
because I already I made it to the promised land.
Ugh,
I just I want everybody to
I
be
love
there as
that.
well.
With your gorgeous husband and your amazing radio show. That's the turning your pain into power thing, right? That we were talking about earlier. Like you've done it. That's
Oh,
amazing.
if I had another hour, I could tell you what I went through. And you would
Listen, I'd
believe
give it to you, but your producers would kick me out.
my producers would kick me out now. I'm talking too much
I
here.
love them. Thank them so much. They are doing an
All right,
incredible
so
job.
I have a thing to tell you here, and I want to go for. It's not a happy question, but
That's okay.
I want to move from this to a higher ground after this question.
Okay.
So I'm going to read a statistic that's deeply disturbing
Mhm.
to me, and I just wanted to reach out to you and see what you thought about it. Gay, lesbian, and bisexual youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight peers, and transgender youth are nearly, listen to this, 12 times as likely.
Mhm.
So what can we, as average, everyday people, do to stop this from happening in our schools and our communities? And is social media, do you think, to blame for this? What are your views on that?
Yeah, I think number 1, we all need to continuously get better at using our voices on a local level. Be that educating people around our own dinner tables. I think it starts with us and making a difference. Really self-educating. There's a lot of resources where you can learn more about experiences, both similar and different from your own, and then use that information to stand up for what's right. I think, honestly, those statistics, as we all know, are deeply painful. I think the
Yeah,
loss of joy and life in young people,
I'm so hurt by it. When
it's
I heard this, it
devastating.
was
Yeah.
devastating to
Yeah.
me.
It's really heartbreaking. I think, especially like you mentioned, when you're on the other side of it as a queer person, as I am too, you know the joy and thriving that is waiting for you. And I think we really owe our communities that reminder. And so I think what everyday people can do is, one, policy, I think, is a big one, paying attention to local politics. Two, changing societal understanding within your own communities. And when I say your own communities, I mean like your friends and family, the people you interact with on a daily. I think that is a huge culture shift when, if someone makes like a transphobic joke that they think isn't that serious, just correcting them and letting them know that that has cultural impact
Yeah,
and that could affect someone, you know?
somebody recently told me, "Are you one of those alphabet people?"
Mm-hmm.
See that,
Yeah.
and that was recent.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't when I was 17, 18. It was now. So there's
Totally.
still people. I don't even know what that means, an alphabet person, but I mean, I
Yeah,
believe,
like someone who cares about every acronym in the community and wants to include them.
yes,
And I think to someone like that, it could be a deeply hateful comment, but it also can be flippant. They might not understand the heaviness. It can come from ignorance. And I think ignorance can have just a detrimental impact as intentional hatred. And I think on a hopeful note, one of the changes we can make is, and not to, I mean, obviously tie it back to Free2Luv, but it's joining organizations and communities that are doing the legwork, that are making a difference, that are talking to the people and being the people that are making the change. I think it's really practicing getting over that awkward or fearful moment when you know you should say something, but you don't know how to yet. I think it's practicing using that voice and being a little uncomfortable and making a difference. And remembering that like LGBTQ plus people are human. They want to be seen, they want to be loved. So making that a part of your daily routine of how can I take care of this community in my day-to-day actions can make a huge difference.
yes, and this Pride Month. See how old I am? Still saying Gay Pride. Uh,
You corrected yourself though. See, I didn't even have to do it
it
this time.
was used to be called Gay Pride because all the other letters were so in the closet about it. We were the first ones to, you know, strike up the band and say this is important.
Mhm.
And now we're embracing. That's why I don't. When some people say to me, "Oh, the LGB should break off from the TQ," no,
Yuck.
I hate that. I don't
Me
want to
too.
hear that. It's
Mm-mm.
ridiculous.
It's also
But
ignorant because like our
yeah,
foundation is trans people, and like specifically black trans women have been
yeah,
the forefront of our movement since the beginning of time. So yeah,
absolutely.
we're a community through and through.
I recently read in Gay Times
Hmm.
that because of online pressure, many queer programs have been canceled, and
Mm.
fan pages are shutting down. On top of that, change.org petitions have been drafted, and protesters are outside Netflix headquarters making angry objections to our shows and even the fact that they're being aired. So, what are your thoughts about this purge of our programming?
Ugh, I think it's dangerous. I think it's the kind of like hateful noise that really doesn't deserve to be heard. I think it's, again, talking about programming and the arts are often the first and most powerful tool we have as LGBTQ plus people for self-expression. It can be counterculture, it can be personal, it can be subtext, it can be a bold way to state who we are. Like, it is a form of communication that is limitless. And whenever we try to deny people that, it's one of the most dangerous forms of censorship. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and
Yes.
I think back to your like, is online to blame? Yes and no, because I think online can create just as many safe spaces and offer
Oh, sure.
resources as it
Yeah.
can be dangerous.
Well,
So yeah.
before we end the show here,
Mhm.
I just want to thank you.
Oh, thank
Araya,
you.
we have 30 seconds left. Could you believe this? How fast this goes?
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Remember, Free2Luv, LUV.org, spelled it out. Use the numeral 2, Free2Luv.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Happy Pride, Araya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please come on the show again.
I will, and I'd love to thank your viewers. Thank you for caring and making a difference and using your voice. I appreciate you all.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Ow!